Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to our QTF workshop on the Tourism Emission Reduction Program. It's great to see so many of you join us, both in person and online. Thank you for taking the time to be here today. Today's workshop is all about sustainability and how we can take meaningful steps towards reducing our emission footprint in the tourism industry. We will structure the session into 3 key sections. The first is QTF program briefing introduction. I will provide a quick 10 minutes overview of the QTF framework and its relevance to the sustainability, because we do have some business haven't been credited during this meeting. And we do have some friends is already together with us work on the QTF for a long time. So I would like to have some little bit review with the existing credited business and some briefing to the new businesses. Then after the QTF briefing, so we have the professional expert, Danny Roos. We will have Danny, Tourist Sustainability Manager, here to share insights on the new government mandate for the carbon emission reporting and how the tourism emission reduction program can help you take your first steps in developing an emission footprint and action plan. Then at the last, we will have 10 minutes for the Q&A session. We will wrap up with the opportunity for you to ask questions and share your thoughts. The first, I'm going to give a little bit idea about what is the QTF. Yes, QTF program, the accreditation is government-funded program. It's funded by the Australia. And now we have over 4,500 business already accredited in Australia. And this program is ensured high quality standards and also promotes sustainable businesses practices. And every program, we have a logo, and consumers, they trust the business who are already accredited and with the logo on their website. So this is the programs we have. With the accreditation, we have 10 different programs. And we also have the star rating. Star rating is the national one. And star rating, we have 6 categories. It's suitable for the different type of the accommodation. Why the business, they want to get their accredited? Once you get accredited, you will have 3 consumer websites. You got free listing to promote your business. It's pretty much is a very powerful marketing tool. And also you have the free access to the Review Pro online reputation management solution. Review Pro account, they can grab more than 1,300 the different review platform to generate it in one platform. You don't have to jump to the different website like Google, TripAdvisor. You can manage your reviews on Review Pro, one platform to get it all done. And what you got the free account with the Review Pro, it was 1,300 per year. So that is free for you because this this program is funded by government paid for that. If you are the tour business, you have tour need to running in the national parks in NT like Kakadu and Uluru. If you need to apply for the long-term permit, more than 1 year, then you will be requested to show you've been credited. And also sustainability tourism is the entry level and with the eligibility for Broga Awards and Australia Tourism Awards. If you didn't credit it, then you have to do the standard, business standard for the Broga Awards. That pretty much is the same as what you do with your accreditation. The only different thing is you don't have the certificate. So that is the why the business to be credited is the benefit. And how the consumers, they see the credited business. So with the consumers, that is the survey from ATIC. They do collect all the surveys from the consumers with the credited business. Consumers say the credited business as reliable and high standards. And they do have the management for the safety and the constancy, professional, ethic, and problem resolution. Why consumers see that? Because when you do your accreditation, go through all the assessment, every question will be relative with how the consumers say you. So this is the consumer website. The first one is Trust the Tick. This website, when you finish you completed your accreditation, you'll be free listing here. The consumers can book with you directly. This is another consumer website, Star Rating. It's the same. Consumer can book with you directly. And another one is if you are tourism top end, the member, then you got another chance to post you products on our visit center's consumer website. This is how the Review Pro looks like. It's very easy to use and it's powerful tools for you to do the report. Right, so in case the accreditation fees is 100 for this year per program for the new registered business. But next year we will raise up the price. We haven't been raised up the price for nearly 3 years. So next year will be 165. And also we have the free one-on-one coaching available to help you to get all the things done. And we would like to say, maybe the new business will be more concerned about their time consuming with doing this program. So we would like to say pretty much after coaching, 1 hour coaching, so you will get most of the assessment done, or some of them even can just get accreditation at the same day. All right, if you have any problem or if you want to know more about the QTF program, please just contact with me by these details. All right, thank you very much. And now it's my pleasure to hand things over to Danny Ruth, our tourism sustainability manager. Danny brings the wealth of expertise in helping tourism business navigate their sustainability challenges and opportunities. And today, Danny will provide an in-depth look at the new government mandate on the carbon emission reporting and explain how the tourism emission reduction program can be an exciting starting point to help you identify your emission footprint and create actionable plans for reductions. Okay, Danny, I'm over to you.
Thank you so much, Annie. I appreciate it. And thank you so much, everybody, for participating in this workshop and in this webinar. I really hope that you found it beneficial and that you get something out of it. I'm more than happy to take questions at the end. There is a few of us in the room, so yeah, at the end will be a lot more efficient. Hopefully technology works in my favor and I'm going to be able to share my screen without any issues. So please let me know if that is not the case. What can you see? Can someone tell me they can see my screen only and not my notes or anything like that?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, so basically I'm the tourism sustainability manager for this program across Australia. And it's been an incredible journey since we launched it a couple of months ago, almost a year now. And the uptake and the appetite for this topic has just continued to grow. And hopefully you get a really good sense of what this program can do for you, the benefits, and also some of the whys as to what we're doing this. So Let me see if I can go to the next one. So the reason that we're here is that we know that emissions management is now an essential part of sustainability. For those that are aware of what sustainability is, there are 4 key pillars of sustainability, and emissions management sits within the environment. And perhaps a couple of years ago, it was kind of like a nice thing to have. But now we know that emissions measurement is at the core or the first step of a lot of businesses to get started in this journey. We also know that emissions management, it really helps businesses increase operational efficiencies and decrease operational cost. And a lot of the businesses that have jumped on the tool have actually used the tool for those reasons, not because they are kind of wanting to save the environment or anything like that. It's really about funding those efficiencies within the business. So some of the kind of key insights that we've noticed from the reason as to why we created this program was because sustainability is really not about perfection. It's really a journey. Businesses are constantly trying to improve, and this is another way of improving your business. And that's why we decided to do this. We also understand that a lot of the cases, it's a lot around partnerships and collaboration across the industry and sector. So how can we bring technology into our businesses that can really help us navigate this space? Or how do we find other businesses in a similar journey as to you? And how can we learn from them, and how we can collaborate in different areas of your business? We also understand that it is about sharing your journey, sharing what you're doing, not only with your visitors, but also with your peers. What can we learn from each other that can really help navigate this space? And then lastly, we've noticed in the last couple of insights and couple of research stuff done by Tourism Australia and the TICs, and just in general, is that most businesses are not doing anything about emissions, and they're scoring very, very low on their emissions tracking. And that's kind of like setting them behind from a competition perspective, but also from other from the capacity to build those efficiencies. So that's kind of like some of the insights that we have found recently. Now, what we've heard from a lot of businesses is that who typically really owns this space. Most of the time, it's sitting into the sales and operations manager, the supply chain or procurement manager, general manager, or if they exist, a sustainability manager. So these are the kind of people that are kind of perhaps expected to understand this topic, okay? I have a little bit of a question for the group. If you have your phone with you, that would be great to scan that code and give me a little bit of insights as to how you feel or how much do you think a typical business manager understand the sustainability or emission space. It could kind of help me guide a little bit of the conversation. If you don't have the time, that's okay. But that's the QR code for you to tell me. I'm gonna wait just a couple of more seconds to see if any answers come live. But yeah, how much do you think a typical business? Yeah, great. Basic knowledge is going up. Modern, yeah, basic knowledge, yeah. Cool. Okay. Great, basic knowledge, yeah. Okay, minimal expert. Okay, that's actually much better to what I expected the room will say. The common I guess, answer that we have heard talking to different businesses across the nation is that it's really zero. So how many resources or time does a typical business have to allocate to this is zero. And it's very similar to having like a minimal knowledge around this space, minimal or basic. So it's kind of resonating with me that that's the same in this room. So the reason that I wanted to kind of understand where the knowledge is at, but also the allocations of resources, it's because it's one of the key things that is leaving businesses behind in terms of measuring emissions, because either they don't have the time or the space or the capacity to do this, or there is not the right knowledge in the room. So the other thing that we have heard is that some of the programs that are currently available in the market are either it take a long time to implement, or they require system integrations, or they're highly technical that you need special resources to do it, or you need to create a whole project team. So we heard that. And we also heard that what business really want in this space is things that are fast to implement, things that don't require additional staff to manage it, that they require value for money, they're simple to understand, and that there's not really technical knowledge required, that anybody can just pick it up and go with it. So we heard all of those things. And from an association perspective, so like tourism top end or the TICs, like ATEC, is, well, how can we kind of activate the whole industry around this, that is accessible program? Coordinate this mass rollout, it's really, really hard. And so, and how we kind of increase the collaboration within the industry in this space. So we started thinking about this thing. How do we support the members of an association and activate a participation that can collectively create this impact, and we understand what's going on? So you may have heard a couple of times, perhaps on the news, or you have heard it from Tourism Australia or from your RTO. It's like, what do we need to start thinking about this? A lot of this is driven by consumers who like you too. I understand that the last Booking.com sustainability report said that 76% of travelers are looking for sustainable experiences. It can save you a lot of money, as I explained in the beginning, but also now it's driven by this new legislation and tender and finances. I have spoken with a couple of operators already in WA and Queensland, that they have been talking to the banks about getting loans and things like that. And most of them have also asked them for the sustainability credentials, how they're managing their emissions to get different loans. And similar with tenders, we've seen government in different parts of Australia be asking in the grant applications, what are those sustainable or emissions measurement that they're doing. But the one that we're going to focus on today, a little bit more in depth, is the new legislation. And I think most of you might be interested in hearing this out. I don't want to freak anybody out, so it will be okay. So basically what's going to happen from the 1st of January next year is that the very large companies will have to report on their on climate reporting. And there are 4 key things that they're going to have to be looking at. One of them will be their emissions measurement. In order to qualify to each of these groups, it's that you have to be 2 of those 3 dot points. Okay, so if your business identifies with 2 of the very large companies, that means that you're going to be in the group 1. If you are in the group 2, those are 2 things that you need to be considering, whether you fit on that or the medium companies on the end. Okay, so this will happen on a phase approach. So group 1 will be January 25, group 2 26, and group 3 2027. The key thing here to remember is that they will be required to measure the emissions also from their supply from their 2nd year. And this is where the tourism industry might be impacted by it, is that if you are a large business, like the very large one on group 1, and they have to report on their emissions from next year, okay, by 2026, if they are working with a small company, no matter whether it's large company, medium, or small, is that they're going to come to you and say, hey, I need to measure my emissions on my scope 3. You are part of my suppliers. So therefore, I need your emissions so I can report on my emissions. And that's the ripple effect of what's going on from 2025, is that in some shape or form, the tourism industry is going to be affected by this because they're going to be supplying their emissions to the larger companies. A good example of this, if we use the winery industry, right? If you are a wine provider and you're a small, medium distillery, okay, a winery, sorry, and you're providing your products to Dan Murphy, Dan Murphy is in the category of very large company. Therefore, they're going to be reporting on their emissions. And in 2026, they're going to go to all of their suppliers and say, hey, you're providing me with your product, your wine, into my shelves. So therefore, I need your emissions. What are your emissions? Can I please get your report? So then I can report on mine. So that's how it kind of works from a line of the very large to the small one, and how we all kind of connected through this. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm more than happy to take more questions at the end around this and how you may or may not be affected by this. Now, to understand a little bit about this is how many businesses will need to report on emissions. So the first wave is what I explained in that first group. Most of these companies are already probably reporting on this. They just might have to change a couple of little things here and there. The next wave is what's going to happen with that directly impacted by the new legislation. So that's about 5,000 to 20,000 businesses across Australia. And then we have those at the indirect wave, which is what I explained before about those that are not measuring their emissions right away, but they will be asked to do it by the large companies that they're working with. They're not subject to the legislation. It's going to be engaged via the procurement standards of the large emitters. And we're sitting about 500,000 businesses across Australia. So now we're trying to support the first wave, but also in the tourism industry, that indirect wave with this program. So what this program is trying to do is just kind of setting you for success for when this is happening. So it's just giving you ahead of time a little bit of a space. So get your house in order. So when your suppliers, the companies that you're working with are asking you for this data, you're ready to go. And we heard from industry that they wanted like a measurement tool, something that they could put an action in place and something and a way of communicating that. But as I mentioned before, we're also looking for things that are accessible, easy to navigate, time efficient, and very intuitive. So we put together this program that I'm gonna show you in a couple more minutes. And we partnered with the Quality Tourism Framework to create the Tourism Emissions Reduction Commitment Program. And the background that I just gave you was the rationale as to what was this important, we needed to do this. And now I'm going to move on into like the nitty gritty of the tool to show you how easy this could be to jump on board and kind of stand for that competition and stand out from the crowd as to taking initiative in this space and being ready for what might happen in the future. So the program can be used for anybody. So any business in the tourism industry can use the tool. But also if you are perhaps has multiple businesses on different industries, the tool is catered for anybody, any size and any type. So that's something that also to consider how flexible this could be. Now, how does it work? It's very simple, and that's one of the key things that I am so passionate about it, is because it kind of removes all the barriers of being involved with something that you thought you needed to be an expert on. It removes all those barriers for anybody, the mom and dad, the young kids with any background can use the tool. So in order to participate, you need to be a sustainable tourism accredited business. In your Quality Tourism Framework portal, there will be an enrollment section where you can just tick the box, and then you'll be part of the emissions reduction program. This program is free if you are a sustainable tourism accredited business. Once you register, you can then complete on your own time. You will have access to how-to videos for each of the sections of the program. We have monthly webinars that you can join and kind of understand and share some of those insights with peers across Australia. And then you can talk to a friendly team. That friendly team is actually me. So you can book a one-on-one sessions with myself just to go through your emissions program, some of the actions that you want to put in place, any feedback that you might have about the program, or anything that you just want to discuss and really understand about your operations on how you can do better and improve and find those efficiencies that we spoke about before. So the program has core stages, 3 of them, okay? Commit, reduce, and avoid. The commit, which is now called measure as well, it's around sign up and you estimate your emissions. And we have 4 levels on how you can measure the emissions. Most of you are in the starter program. This is a program that is self-assessed. You input your data in our calculator, and then we'll give you a report. Okay, the other options that are available on the screen are if you're looking for a more in-depth analysis of your emissions, and we can have a conversation separately about that. They are all in discounted price because of this program, but I just want to focus on the first one for the sake of this webinar, that's like a really good starting point if you haven't done anything in the past. So then, as I mentioned, we have a calculator that goes through all of the key categories of emission measurement, and we ask you just to supply your data, okay, that it looks a little bit like this. The questions are very basic around this space. It will ask you about electricity, your waste, your logistics, business travel, business fuel, etc. And if we have time, I might just be able to give you a real demo of the tool so you can see the back end. I'm conscious of time, so I want to make sure that we do have the time to do that. But if not, this gives you a really good overview of the calculator. The second stage is about reduce. And this is about removing the thinking behind, oh, what can I do in this space to make my business more efficient or anything like that. We have already provided more than 60 different actions that you could do to reduce your emissions. So each of these categories will help you understand what can you do to reduce some of the cost, reduce some of your, and at the same time, reduce some of your emissions. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, we have a whole section around actions that you could do in the tourism industry specifically that may help your business in that efficiencies that we were just talking about. So the next one, it's about avoid, which is around the adoption of renewable energy in the locations that you have assigned. So that should take about 2 to 3 minutes to complete. They're just 5 questions, and it's asking you around that space of transition to renewable energy. We then also have advanced options if businesses like to do so. I should have mentioned those 3 that you see on the screen at the moment are the key 3 core stages for you to get their the recognition under the Tourism Emissions Reduction Program. These 2 are advanced options if the business decides to engage in this space. So that's offsets. We do have an offset project in the Northern Territory at the moment if you want to keep it local. Otherwise, we have other projects around Australia. The idea of this is that you offset the emissions that you have control over. We're not in the business of measure, offset, here we go, done. No, we are encouraging businesses to measure, do everything in their power to reduce emissions, and then if there is anything left to do, you can choose to offset some of your emissions. And the last one, it's around set a target. So if you're looking to showcase an extra commitment to your visitors, is to say, well, I have measured my emissions and now I want to set a target of reducing my emissions by a certain percent. That could be your choice. You don't have to do that, but it's again, it kind of goes to show that extra commitment you may have. At the end, so what's the output of the program? It's really around getting this little dashboard that showcases your commitment to reducing your emissions. It kind of shows a little bit of your emissions footprint, the actions that you take to reduce emissions, and how those actions are aligned to the Sustainable Development Goals, which is like a broader framework. You also get, and by the way, this is the way that you get this dashboard is that you get a unique link that then you can put on your website to showcase. And I will show you a couple of examples on that in a minute. You also get a 1-pager carbon emissions report that you can use in any of your communications if you're applying for grants or lend with your bank. If in the case of the mandatory climate reporting, if you have any of your partners come in and say, hey, I need your emissions, can you please give it to me? You can then provide your report. And of course, that's the communication tool that I spoke a little earlier around showcasing this to your visitors. We have a QR code. Once you scan it, it goes straight into your dashboard, which is the screen, the slide before. And again, it's really about coming full circle around you measure, you reduce, and then you communicate to your stakeholders of different varieties. We also have this group functionality that really helps, I guess, Tourism Top End and the Australian Tourism Industry Council to really tell a story around what are we doing in this space. And it allows, I guess, your representatives to really advocate on your behalf in terms of some of the initiatives that they can do to support businesses in reducing emissions. So I'll give you an example. If in the actions there is, I don't know, let's say 50% of the industry that is looking for EV chargers, well, is there an opportunity then for the Tourism Top End or Australian Industry Council to advocate on your behalf with the government or your state representatives and say, well, we know that this is what our people want. This is a really good opportunity to provide a grant or on a specific project around waste management. So it really gives, I guess, your representatives real data on what's possible and what they can advocate on your behalf. Now, I have a little video that I'm really hoping that the audio will work. And this is just a testimonial from one of the operators using the tool. and I just want to see if it works. But if not, then I'll just move on into the, I guess, written testimonials that I have. So I'm going to try. Please, Annie, if you can let me know that it's working and the audio is working, that would be great. Um, is the audio working?
Yeah.
Great.
For Australian Age of Dinosaurs Museum of Natural History out in Winton. We are about 660 k's outside of or away from Townsville. It was certainly more in depth than I thought. It really challenging me to question some of the things that we had been doing, you know, the processes that we had in place, some things I hadn't even thought about, probably because it's standardizing it instead of us being so this is a good idea, let's do it. It's putting it into a process that you can follow. So, you know, it was a little bit more challenging than I thought, but in the return on it, what you get from it, because it kind of puts all of those good ideas into a format that you can process. So that report at the end of it was really invaluable. I would definitely recommend it. It's all about putting things in perspective, putting your own organization into perspective about the wider picture, but also giving yourself some kind of benchmark to work through, because there's so many things out there that you can get lost, and it's quite easy to just feel overwhelmed by it, and I can't make a difference, I can't do anything. But the smallest, the biggest organizations, we can all be doing something, and I think that's where this program's really geared, is that you don't have to be a huge entity. You can take those small steps as well and feel empowered by them. I love that it's also online and you can do it at your own pace. Because today's world, you know, everybody's got crazy hours. We're all doing a million things. So it's just nice to be able to just drop it, come back, drop it, come back, and just fill it in as you like. And also, you know, come back in a year's time and see what you've done, see the improvements.
Well,
Danny, yeah.
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 Well, I hope that that was kind of resonate with you around, you know, that you don't have to believe me around how good this program is, but you can hear about you, from your peers what they thought and their experience. I'm gonna move on from that, and then this is some of the partnerships that we're working with across Australia. The reason that a lot of the people, the feedback that we got from people, it's that it's very versatile and inclusive, it's really affordable and effective, and it's really easy to communicate what you're doing to your visitors and different stakeholders. That's the end of the presentation. That's my email if anybody has any questions or they want to reach out in with me. I'm not sure how we're going with time, Annie. I can show you I can show the tool live if you want me to, and I can show a couple of live examples of how people are communicating their emissions.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
If you can, give them more example or showing more information for them.
Can you still see my screen?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. And I'm glad that you did not see my desktop, because my desktop is a mess. So I'm glad that you can still see this. So this is the Quality Tourism Framework website. You can log in, and mine looks a little bit different because I was a judge, not a business. So in here, you go into enroll. A pop-up screen will come up to select the program. You click on it, and then just follow the path. Pretty simple and straightforward. Once you're in the tool, it will look a little bit like this. Okay, so this will say your business name, it will have a welcome message here, and then you go through each of the stages. So as I mentioned before, the first one is around calculate your emissions. This one is the one that is for free. As I showed you before, these are the key categories of the program. Oh, sorry, measuring your emissions. You just go in through it. This should take about an hour to 2 hours to complete, only because it just really depends on the data that you have at hand. I would suggest focus on good enough. We're not looking here for perfect data, your 12 bills of everything. No, we really want people to focus on participating, on having something to get them guided through the program. And then maybe the second year that you come back, you have better data, and then you just keep improving as you go. But we're not evaluating here on, oh, you have to be perfect, you have to have the 12 bills of everything. No, this is just about getting you started, getting you familiarized with some of the topics and the categories, and then we can improve your data as you go. Here that you'll find an FAQ where you can see how to use the calculator. What are the things to include on your suppliers? What are the things to exclude on your freight? We also have an emissions tracker spreadsheet, so you can do this 1 year and then start using the spreadsheet to start collating the data monthly for your next financial year or the next 12 months you want to do. We also have notes in here where you can go and type anything that you need to remember for next time you do it. So like I've used 10 bills of my business travel instead of the 12 a month, like anything that you need to keep track. So when you come back next year to measure your emissions again, you know some of the decisions that you made and you don't have to go through your emails to find that. Once you've completed, you'll have a little estimated carbon emissions report that looks like this. So if you've done it more than once, this will tell you a little bit of your emissions tracker. So if you've done 23, 24, and 25, it will start showing you a trend, whatever is going up or down. It also shows you the 5 top categories of your emissions. And then if you were doing more than one, it will show you a comparison of those two here. So after that, you go to reduce, which looks like this. These are all the different categories that I mentioned on the screen last time. You can create your own actions. I'm going to go through the tourism one. Let's say accommodation, and you can then see some of the actions that you can do to reduce emissions that are specifically to the accommodation sector. Once you click on it, you'll see a little tab like this. It will give you a little bit of information of what that looks like. The estimating savings on low, whether it's the emission impact is low, medium, or high, their relation to the Sustainable Development Goals, and a little bit of education material around where does it sit in the emission area, whether it's scope 1, 2, and 3. But we're not going to get into the detail of that. You then type away what you want to say, the status of this. So the idea is that you add things that you're currently doing and things that you want to do in the future. So if you already, for example, change your LED lights, you can say that that's a task that has been completed and you've done that by 2023, something like that. So then you save it, and then each of the actions that you have put in place is going to go into your emissions dashboard. Every action that you add, it will be added by a status. So then you can see the actions that you have completed, the things that you have underway, things that you have commenced, or by the due date. So it also kind of operates and works as a management tool of the actions that you put in place in your organization. I'm gonna skip the avoid because it's really simple. It's only a couple of questions around your transition to renewable energy. This will take about 2 minutes. So in total, if you're following my advice, it should take about 3 hours. Now, there are businesses that have taken a little bit longer, only because they're really looking for that perfect data. But we know that this calculator is just an estimator. It does not need to be perfect. If you do look for that perfect data, well, I would advise you to move on through the upgrade options on the tool that we can give you a more in-depth analysis of your emissions. But if we keep in mind that this is just an estimator of your emissions, it's just a calculator, you self-assess, the data doesn't have to be perfect, but good, it's good enough. And that's why we want people to start thinking of. I'm going to touch base on the offsets a little bit. The offsets look like a little bit like this. So you will select a project. We don't keep any of this money, not us or ATEC, anybody. This goes straight into retiring the emissions on your behalf. You then get a certificate to say that you have sponsored and retired certain offsets, however you decided. You can then move here how much you want to spend. But again, as I mentioned, this is only about emissions that you have full control over. So that's scope 1 and 2. We're not asking or allowing people to offset their scope 3, which is their supplier, etc. And there is the rationale for that. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions on that end. So at the end, you get your badges here. So if you complete stage 1, 2, and 3, you then get your unique link that looks like this. You just copy and paste that on your website. You have your unique badges to download, your QR code, all of this appears once you've completed the 3 core stages. I will now show you a couple of examples. So we have here the Mara Island Walk in Tasmania. They have added here their logo. If you click on the here, you can then see their plan and what they're doing to reduce their emissions. We also have here, we can click here on detailed report and we can see all the different things that they're doing to reduce emissions and find those efficiencies. We can see that they have a couple completed or underway. Another example here is the Australian Age of Dinosaurs that we heard from. I click on that here. Again, similar thing. We can see their emissions and what they're doing. I can click on here and then say, oh yeah, 4 of the actions is completed, 3 are still working on. And then the last one I'll show you, it's the Great Southern Outback. Again, they have a lot of the credentials here. They don't have a blurb or anything. They just click on that emissions reduction action plan. And again, another way of communicating all of what they're doing in this space. In the tool, one of the other cool things that you'll see, it's the help and training. So we have the one-on-one support that I mentioned earlier, the ability to train, to click and register to a monthly webinars. We close them for the year. So the next one is in February. And then the other one is that you can search members. That means that if you're a bit stuck and you're not really sure what to do in this space and you need a little bit of inspiration, you can go and see other businesses in the industry that perhaps you can take inspiration and find that community on. So let's say you are a small B&B and very new in the space, you can go and find a similar business, click on the view and the program and say, okay, they have these actions. Is there anything else I can take on? For example, in single-use plastic, or how they've done and went about to do their changing to solar panels. I don't know, I'm making it up now, but it kind of creates that kind of community sense where you can go and see what other businesses are doing in this space. So you don't feel alone trying to tackle and trying to come up with all the ideas that you can do. That's it. In the reports, you'll see your dashboard, your emissions reduction plan, and your estimated carbon emissions report as well, like I mentioned before. That's really the tool. That's how it works. You can find, as I mentioned before, the member search here or up there. And yeah, I'm ready for any questions that the group may have. I'm also very excited to see all of you participated in the program, and yeah, and seeing all your action plans come to life and provide you any feedback or support that you may need in this space.
Thank you very much, Danny, for sharing such this valuable information to us. So any of us has the question for Danny? Now you can ask Danny, or do you have any questions for me? All right, so a little bit information for the credited business. If you have been credited as sustainable, so this year you are free for enrollment for tourism industry.
Yes, Annie, can I just add to that? It's free forever.
Oh, forever.
Yeah. So they
better.
well, okay. I'm exaggerating there, Annie. I'm sorry. So it's
right.
free for 5 years. So 5 years, it's what the ATEC has secured for the industry. So that means if you log in now and you secure your spot, you can use the tool for 5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
It's even better, right?
Even better. Yes.
Okay, it's free for 5 years. And also share some information about the plan. We are promote the QTF, that program, the whole package with the all different the accreditations. Like if you credit it as sustainable, that is the entry level. You can enroll in the tourism industry, tourism emission reduction program, and you can enroll into the sustainable, the accessible. And you can enroll into the EcoStar, and you can enroll to the international ready. And also this year, tourism top end, we are planning to do more promotion for the accredited business. And the first thing we will ask everybody, please put your logo of your accreditation on your website or your social media, because more and more the consumers, they are looking for the accredited business. They are very easy to find what you've been credited with the different program, because the ATEC, they promote lots. So we just keep the same standard for the accreditation. And also towards top end, we are going to make some plan like the social media posting, and also we are doing the TVC as well. in end of this year or the next year, early next year. You will see it on TV. So Sean, I need to introduce Sean, my colleague Sean.
Hello.
Thank you very much, Sean. Appreciate for you help me to hold this meeting.
Yep.
And Sean is our digital coaching. If any of our business haven't been done your digital coaching, please reach out to Sean. Sean is expert for you to help you to explore your business on the social medias, and he can help you to make the plan for the long term or short term to develop your business. And Sean and me, we will work together to say how can we promote all the creative business more and more successful in next year. All right, so time goes fast. It's nearly an hour. So if any of us have no question for Danny, I think we will be close the meeting. Yeah.
I hope that no question means that that all the messages gone out there and everybody's happy, and I will see all of you on the tool. That's my expectation when there is no question. So
Yeah, because you already gave them most of the questions answered in your what's that presentation.
yeah.
So we record this meeting. If anyone want to understand more or to find the details what Danny is put up today, so welcome you to get on the tourismtopend.org.au to review these meeting records. All right.
Great.
So thank you very much for everybody joining the meeting. I'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Hello.